All right. Hi, everyone. We are here with a special guest today. Sabrina has joined us to share her story, how she got from point A to point B, and she's on her way to point C. So before we get into Sabrina's story, Sabrina, do you want to just introduce yourself to everyone?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am Sabrina, for those of you that don't know me. I am a self-employed esthetician. I am the mother of two teenage boys plus five bonus sons. All the kids in my house range from the ages of 8 to 20. So I am a pretty busy woman, and I'm 41 years young.
41 years young. Yes, I love it. Yeah. Okay, so basically let's just kind of like start for the beginning and let's kind of map it out for the women. Oops. The women that are watching this in this group, okay? And so let's start with the call because I know that you had a couple of people on you to be like, jump on it, and you were really hesitant. And so Sabrina and I coached together, but basically it was like we had that call. What was kind of like that point for you, like that this is it, I need this, it's no longer a want, it's a need? Can you kind of like describe that point for everyone?
Um, I can't say that it was any one specific moment. I think it was just a lot of things that were kind of compiling on top of each other. And I think when I reached out to you, Cindy, was probably the later part of August. And just kind of going through the summer where the kids were like, why don't you come to the pool with us? And why don't you ever wear a bathing suit and that kind of thing, right? Like that was, I think, the icing on the cake for me was that when like my kids and even the little boys were like, just jump in the pool with me. Like they don't understand that I just wasn't comfortable. Um, and to be honest, like I had a couple friends that were coaching with you, and I noticed how much lighter they felt. They were just so much more confident and happy. They were losing the weight, their whole bodies were changing. And I just kind of thought, I spend a lot of my days at work, helping to build women's confidence, that maybe it was time for me to do it for myself. So I took the plunge. I reached out. We had our meeting, and I think during our meeting too, I was very surprised at the emotional element of it. That I was like, I think that this is right for me.
Yeah.
Worth a try, right? Like, why not? I invest so much of my time and even finances and the kids and house and everything. I needed to do something for myself, and totally worth it.
So basically, it was like, hey, life moments were happening, and you were feeling you were excluding yourself out of them because you didn't
Definitely,
feel confident or ready in them. And then at the same time, you were kind of seeing other people, and in what you were looking for was like that light feeling that you were seeing in other people. And then
definitely,
at the other time, it was like, okay, there's an emotional component to this that I maybe haven't addressed before.
for sure.
Okay, so let's go back even further. What had you tried to get to that light feeling or that confident feeling? Like what had you done?
Well, I did invest some money, and I tried like the V Shred program. I would like research and do like keto for a little while, and then every as women we feel that bloaty, yucky feeling, so we think, okay, let's just not eat carbs, and you can only do so much of the same thing before you just, I guess, you kind of hit a plateau with that, and then you just fall off that bandwagon again, right? Like it's busy, and then you're just kind of like, oh my God, it's just been such a busy day. And then you kind of mow down on all this food just to stuff it and go. And nothing was sustainable. So,
Yeah.
um, nothing was working. Nothing worked long term, I guess, so to speak. Like it worked for when I had like a function, I needed to drop a few pounds, maybe fit into that dress for a wedding or a function. Um, and then the function would come and I would just barely fit into that dress, and then it was okay, well, we're back to this again, right? So
Yeah, and I imagine that kind of made you disconnected even more from, so now you're not swimming with the kids, but you're also eating separately or not eating some of the foods that you like and culture as well. You were avoiding some of that as well. Is that right?
yep, I mean, we have a few picky eaters in our house. So on a good day we're cooking meals separately, like two separate meals already. So even the things that I was doing for myself, it was just one extra layer of trying to cook something different for myself so that I could, maintain that healthy meal kind of balance. But then that wasn't sustainable either, because when you're already cooking for like two separate meals in an evening, then you have to do another thing. It was just another component. And if I'm being honest, moms get put on the back burner. It's not about us. So, it was just about making sure everything else was okay, and I would just deal.
Yeah.
So, and being Portuguese as well, you're kind of raised to you eat everything on your plate as well. So if it's on your plate, you eat it, and then that just doesn't feel good either.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we start coaching together. And so let's just kind of go through the nutrition piece. So
Yeah.
you tried other programs and stuff like that, which include you cooking different meals, you kind of avoiding some of your favorite foods and excluding some foods or whatever. So then we start coaching together and figuring out the food. What was the biggest like lesson for you that you would like to give other women about food?
Oh, where to start, Cindy? Everything about the program was total learning curve for me. I think what was really big was that um, I wasn't paying attention to the fact that I was always eating on the go, um, living off of coffee, because at least I had sugar in my system to keep going if I didn't have time to have a meal or a snack per se. Um, I think as women, we don't pay attention to the fact that we're eating everything in a hurry. So then for me, that was a huge thing is, you kind of taught me that you take your time and don't be distracted, and you eat your meals and be mindful, enjoy the taste. Don't pay attention to anything else. Just pay attention to the fact that you're having a meal and enjoy it, eat it slowly, and mindfully. And that has been huge for me, I think.
Yeah, so because usually we just focus on what we can't have and we don't focus on enjoying our food, or we don't focus on how we're eating that. Now,
Definitely.
one of your goals when we started was that you were already practicing mindfulness, being intentional, practicing your gratitude. You were already doing that.
Yep.
And so, how did that, slowing down that, help with maybe like stress, busyness, or connect you back to kind of that intention?
Um, I guess doing it more often. Like I made a point at work, because normally I'm back to back with clients. I just stuff it in my face and go. I made a point to actually take my 30 minutes for lunch, not return phone calls, not do all these things, return texts, and just sit there and actually eat it. Um, I paid attention to the fact that I was actually getting full as I was eating slowly. And then I knew I was done, and I was okay to put the lid back on the container and just be done with it. And that's huge for me. I'm amazed at how much less I eat because I'm not in a hurry, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me, and it makes sense to anyone who knows that skill, right? Is because you're actually present in your food, right? And so you get to enjoy it and you get to tune into your body as well. Most of us only tune into our body when we're hangry or stuffed. We don't know anything else in between. Now, you were drinking a lot of coffee to get you through the day.
Yeah.
Where did that change?
Well, I drink one coffee a day. Water is my go-to. Sometimes if I want to change it up, I'll throw some lemon into my water, but water just is my go-to now. I don't feel like mid-afternoon, I don't have the shakes anymore. I don't feel like I need that cup of coffee just to keep me going. I feel I'm not hangry anymore. And I used to be a very hangry person. So yeah, down to one coffee a day. I don't even put like four sugars in it like I used to. So that's huge. I'm down to like one and a half. Um, and yeah, I don't even miss it. Don't even miss the
And
coffee.
and you're not cooking separate meals?
Nope. No.
No.
Sometimes I might tweak something, like the boys might have French fries, and I'll just whip up a salad.
Yeah.
Um, so, just some minor tweaks, but I can eat everything that they're eating, and it's great, and it's less dishes and a lot less work, and it's wonderful.
So the one thing that happens, well, women will say like, I have such an addiction to sugar, I have such a sweet tooth or whatever, and I find it really hard and I do really well, and then I fall back to my old patterns and all those sweets come back. And I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, was it a wedding or was it a dress up function you went to and there was a dessert there? And you had the dessert and I remember you coming back and saying, I'm so surprised that it found it so
It
sweet.
was Thanksgiving. Yes. So Thanksgiving was coming up, and I usually bring like pecan pie. And I love pecan pie, but we all know how much sugar that is. So, going into Thanksgiving, I was like, how am I going to do this? This is like the biggest hurdle for me thus far at that point in our coaching. So I remember taking like a sliver, and I thought, okay, I'm going to enjoy this and it's going to be wonderful. And I think I had like two or three bites and I was like, oh my God, this is so sweet. Like I loved it, but I didn't need to eat it all. So I was happy I took the sliver. And then, I was done. I was okay with it. I didn't feel the need to have like that huge piece of pecan pie and then like Portuguese tarts and whatever else was available. I just had a few bites of one dessert and I was totally good.
Yeah, and I want the women to kind
And I
of
feel
sit.
like
Yeah, I want the women to really kind of sit on that because sometimes when we think we want to lose weight, we can't have those we feel are bad foods. And you weren't avoiding the bad foods. It was just that over time things changed. So you no longer needed the big piece, but you only need a little piece, but you felt satisfied for it. You were now leaving
definitely.
food on the
Yeah.
table. You were like, I'm over
Yeah.
and done with it. It's good. And you were
Yeah.
still eating it slowly and mindfully. Because some women, when they get into it, they eat it quick because they feel so guilty about it. They want it over and done with, right? And so for you, I think it's really important just to kind of like let that land is that, hey, you weren't depriving yourself. You weren't cooking separate meals and you were eating things that you enjoy. It was just like some things just changed for you.
Yeah. I actually had to laugh at that point because here we are going into living and like Tommy had said, I don't know how are you going to do this? Like, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine, right? And so I ate like dinner, and then he finished my pecan pie. And we got home that night, and he just was like, I just don't understand this diet thing that you're doing. I don't understand this program. Like, how can you eat all this stuff and like this doesn't make sense? And you're losing weight, and it made me laugh because I was like, I don't know, but it's working. He doesn't get it, but
Yeah.
I get it now, so it's good.
And then let's move on to exercise then. So, what was that for you while coaching? Like, what was the big haha or the takeaway you want women to walk away with?
Um, well, Cindy, I think when we first got started and you asked me about exercise, I flat out told you I hate sweating. I don't, I don't, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this whole working out thing because I hate sweating. I hate feeling like my hair is greasy and dirty and yucky, and I hate that super red feeling in my face. So um, I kind of had to work into that. Like something is better than nothing. Like kind of work into this slowly, and you know, I won't lie, I didn't love the first few times that I did it because, of course, you're all sweaty and gross. And I found myself in a place of just needing to do it, right? Like I actually wanted to get up because I loved how I felt all day long getting up. And even if it was 10-minute workout, it was something. And just the energy that I got from it to the point that in the evening, we finished dinner, everything would get cleaned up, and I still wanted more physical exercise. So I go for like a nice 20-30 minute walk. So, you know, I've embraced the sweating and because I just honestly am at a place where I just love how I feel.
Yeah.
And
So
I notice on days that I don't do it that I'm like, oh.
yeah, because again, it goes hand in hand with that, that intention or that mindfulness that you kind of wanted to build into your life. I like that you broke it down for women and said, hey, I just made it bite size and I started really small and I just remained consistent with it. And then my relationship with it changed, right? I went from not liking sweating, not getting red, not having greasy hair or whatever, to then, needing it to be, but it's only a
Definitely.
bite size because women sometimes come into this thinking that they need hours and hours and they just don't have time for it. And you don't either with seven kids and running your own business. And it's not just a 9 to 5 job either. So I like that you highlighted that. One of the other areas that trips women up is when their routines change or when things change and they just can't give it their all. And that happened for you, and that's happening for you right now.
Yeah.
So can you just talk about like how you deal with changes in kind of your routine or your expectations? How do you deal with that?
Um, so as you and I talked about setting minimum standards, and if I know that I'm heading into a very busy week, I just kind of sit down for a few minutes and in my head just kind of go through what is most important for the week for myself so that I still feel like I've made myself a priority in the week and not forget about what I need to do for myself. So basically, I am now in the something is better than nothing mind frame. So if I can maintain my minimum standards, whether that's, take 10 minutes at the end of the day and just do quiet meditation, or if it's go for a 10-minute walk, I can at least maintain the minimums. It's like you always say, do simple better. So as long as I can do my minimum standards for the day or the week or whatever that looks like, I'm happy. And if there's extra time to do a little bit more, then I'm even happier. So as long as you maintain your minimum standard for the day or the week, and you always had this thing, no 2 days in a row. So if I'm having a bad day, I allow myself to have a bad day, and then I just start fresh the next day.
Yeah, I really like that too. Let's let that land. You're giving a bunch of golden nuggets here. And I like that because it's like you just adjusted. You didn't do nothing. You didn't go all or nothing or try and be perfect. It was like, this is what I'm going to do when I have a busy schedule or when the season says I'm very busy. And then this is what I do when I have more time freedom or more energy or what have you. This is what I do. And we just kind of toggle between both. And that's how you've managed to have really great results and continue to have results because as we're doing this interview, it's been over 2 months since Sabrina and I coached together, and she's still maintaining this, and she's lost an additional weight maintaining it. So it's not 12 weeks and we're done. It's like she's still continuing it. And that's the second part that I want to go into is mindset. But before we go into, or the second part, it's like the third or fourth part. But before we go into that one, it was like, how does those little habits, or those little things that we did, changed you? Because some women see it as it's a to do, it's a chore to drink water, it's a chore to work out. How does it just move out of a chore and become part of who you are? How does that happen?
Um, Basically, it's like practicing every day, right? So I'll be very honest. The first 10 days of our program was by far the most challenging. And then after that, I just loved how I felt so much that I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. And it's just a little bit every single day that eventually, it just becomes my normal. It's like a habit, right? People have bad habits. You kind of make your health one of your habits. So um, every day was just being mindful of doing the same thing over and over and over. And now it's like second nature to me. It's like autopilot, right? I get ready for work and I make sure I have all my water for the day and my good snacks and my lunch is packed and I'm good. It takes a little bit of planning and organizing, but it is so worth it.
Yes, love it. Okay, so most women don't understand the connection between mindset and weight loss or mindset and changing their nutrition and exercise habits. They just don't see it. They're just like, give me a meal plan, give me a workout plan, and I'll do it. So, what was it for you? What's the connection between mindset and basically the results or the success you've had?
Um, Honestly, it came down to making myself a priority. I want to be able to have energy at the end of the day. So I had to really focus on telling myself that it is okay to set boundaries. Boundaries for kids and my significant other and work. So setting boundaries so that I have time to do something for myself was really important. And like talk myself out of feeling guilty, right? The kids are always going to want this and that at that precise moment. And it's okay to say, no, you can wait 10 minutes because I'm going to go for a walk. Or you're going to wait 10 minutes because I have to pack all my snacks or prep a meal or whatever it is that I'm doing. So it's really working on mindset as far as it's okay to do something for myself and not feel guilty about it.
Yes.
So.
I love that, right? Because it's not like a lot of women feel guilty because they think it's being selfish. It's me too,
For sure.
me first, but it's not. It's me
Mhm.
too. You're saying, give me 10 minutes to finish this, and then I'll come back and I'll care for
Yep.
you. And when I
Yep.
do this 10 minutes, then I'll have even more attention for you because I won't be thinking about
Absolutely.
what I wanted to be doing instead.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you say for a woman in general who's just like they feel overwhelmed, like they feel like they've tried it all and they're not getting the results they want, or they just feel overwhelmed with where to start? What do you give, what advice do you give to that woman?
Oh, I could give lots. I like honestly, I think it's important for women to understand that you can't pour from an empty vessel. You really have to make yourself a priority so that you feel good enough to help take care of the people in your life and around you. Um, and investing in yourself is the first step to investing in everything else, truly.
Yeah. And what how would you summarize like our coaching journey together?
Um, Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I learned a lot. Going into it, I truly thought that it was going to be about like, changing my diet and working out like crazy to get the results that I wanted. I never once stopped to think about like the headpiece, right? Like the in your mind and in your heart and how like your emotions and your mindset really contribute to the outlook of everything,
Yeah, and your ability to kind of stick to it as well.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think that this is really going to resonate. Like we touched on a lot of key things, or a lot of key things that kind of trip women up on their journey or to getting started with their journey. And you put it in kind of in your own words and said, "Hey, this is kind of what my experience was like." And so I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of women. As we wrap up, I guess one final question is, what's the one piece of advice or one thing you want women to walk away with?
Um, Well, I tell my clients almost on the daily, you know, you got to take care of you, whether it's something you do for yourself physically or mentally or emotionally. Um, do it for you because when you feel better, everybody around you feels better, um, and you're worth it.
Oh, I love that. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing with everybody because I always feel like it resonates more when they can see a real person who's gone through it and who had the same struggles as them or similar struggles as them. So I think it's really going to land with a lot of women. So I just want to thank you, Sabrina.
Thanks, Cindy.
All right, bye everyone.